looks like Didier's there as well. Still working on trying to bring you the stream. I hope the audio's coming through. So these three climbing together, Mario the highest, they're about 13, 14 kilometers to run. And another group coming in underneath. There's Sebastian Carva and Sebastian Nagel and René Vidal and Bostian.
So what we see here is that in the second group, Sebastian Nagel and Sebastian Kawa, they are coming together, almost same altitude, and heading to this thermal that Mario is showing to them in the Lagunas Valley. And it looks like Mario is still climbing very good, more than 2 meters. So yes, this will be interesting because they will be arriving together, both Sebastians. We are online, finally.
We hope we're online. We're just going to try and get the comments back. Right, and Mario Kissling now running closer to the turn point. Just looking at the distances, he's 13.8 kilometers to run. Just trying to get your comments back up so we can see what's happening. And 13 kilometers to run for 3 Victor. Mario looks a lot closer, but for some reason the data we've got is saying different. Mario running straight into the turn point now. Yes, we now got him at 12.7 kilometers to run. And Mario's up at 3,000 meters now, so that's probably a lot more comfortable than earlier on.
Yeah, it's altogether looking more positive now. And we're back and they're back, and they're climbing up in much better conditions. They need to get into this turning point, and then from this turning point they've got to go back to the west, but it's altogether looking more comfortable. 3,000 meters, Sean, what do you think? They're not that far off having enough height to go around and come home.
Yeah, if they can get the get this turn at 3,000 meters, that's quite important. But the next leg is quite short, but there's quite a bit of terrain between turn point 3 and 4. Just getting close to getting your comments back on, which is good news here. Hopefully you can see the stream. René Vidal, just been pointed out his average speed has dropped off the planet, but I don't think that's quite right. He's now at 2,000 meters. Yeah, it looks like we're coming back online, and several of you are telling us we're back on and running. Live on the YouTube. And just a quick update. This was quite a long leg, 117 kilometers, but I have to say where we were, it seemed like about 300 kilometers. But we're back with you. Just under 10 kilometers to run for Mario. Giorgio Galetto next closest. Mario looks like he's stopped to climb again. Bostian in a good climb. Blimey, 5-6 meters. That's good news. And if I can get Benji to give us a view of them zoomed in, you'll see them climbing together. I'm just bringing that view to you now. Yeah, there we go. Didier at the top of the pile. And he's climbing 3 meters. This is Mario's thermal.
Yes, this is Mario Reyes thermal. So Mario, if you're hearing, you're being famous with your thermal. Thank you very much.
Off in the distance is Mario. Looks like he's got a decent climb as well, a little bit further on.
Yeah, well, actually, he is in Lagunas now. The tricky part of going through Mario's thermal is a little bit far to the west. So even having a good climb there, you have to go through lagunas then to get more height, and to get to the next turn point 3, you need to climb again in lagunas, what Mario is doing. So I guess all the rest of the pilot, they will be going to lagunas and then climb there.
So Mario will go from here to the turn point and then back to climb where he is now.
No, I don't think so, because lagunas will not be on the way to the next turn point, to turn point 4.
Turn point 4 is on the left hand side of the screen.
Yes.
So,
so what probably he will be doing is, if you see the line between turn point 3 and 4, there are some mountains and ridges there. I will choose to go straight to turn point 4 and find some climb. The problem is, once you get to turn point 4, you have to cross the whole valley to get to turn point 5. So there are 2 routes there: coming back to lagunas if you are really, really low, and going through lagunas to turn point 5. But it's a long, long way instead of going straight, you can see. So what I think they will do is, from here they will use this ridge. They can climb here. They can also climb in what we call McQueen here, or maybe here if they're high enough. I think it's a little bit too far to the east. But the decision is not how to get to this turn point. The decision you will be making here, in this area, is how to go to this turn point. Because if you choose to climb high enough, and probably you will be able to climb high enough here, not here, and not here. If you climb high enough here, you will be able to make this, and then back to the club. But if you go straight, not very high, from here to this turn point, this area, there's nothing, and maybe you can go. There is a pass, like going here. You can see this ridges here, so you can choose the left, the west side. But if not, if you are really low here and you cannot climb in between, maybe they will have to go like here. Okay. Can I draw a little bit more?
We're doing sort of kiddies painting classes here, folks. That's fantastic, Carlos. Carlos, how much height do they need when they take the 4th turning point? Because they should be on final glide more or less if they can get there high enough.
Actually, yes, if they get high enough between turn point 3 and turn point 4. But if they choose to go directly to turn point 5, they need something like 1700 to get through Cobre Ridge to get to turn point 5. So here is an interesting decision. Where will you climb? Not looking just for the next turn point, but for the next 2 turn points.
We've now got a goal arrival height screen on the left-hand side, and it's showing that Mario only needs 775 meters from here. This is based on 35 to 1.
Yeah, but you're not considering the ridges you have in the middle. That's the decision I'm talking about. Once they get to turn point 4, they will see that turn point 5 is behind a ridge, and you have to get over it to get to turn point 5. So if you're not high enough, you will have to choose going east or west.
So unlike previous days where they could run ridges.
Now you can see this ridge. This is the ridge, yes. That's the ridge they will be facing coming from turn point 4 to turn point 5. And to cross this area,
Carlos is back with his pen. And so
like this. Yeah. So this is high. Here it's low, and also on the left side it's low. So they will have to choose going west or going east. We don't know how the clouds are here, but maybe they will choose to go again to the thermal they went through going to 10.3, or if there are some cumulus in the middle, maybe they will try to go straight. But this is the highest part of the chain. I think it's 2.4 at least to go this way. It's 2400.
Oh, just extract the pink pen from your hand.
So the dynamics have changed now because Mario's well out ahead. If he gets one good climb now, he's going to come back first. It's looking likely that Mario will be the day winner unless he has a problem, which means that Sebastian Kawa can finish behind Sebastian Nagli as long as they're next to each other and still win the contest.
Yeah,
so the pressure's off him now. If he can be one place back, but he can't be more than two places back. It's put a lot of pressure now on Sebastian Nagli, our Kumul, to get ahead and try to really push for the finish.
So Mario's flown a blinder the second part of this this leg, using all of his talent to get in front, and it looks like he's 7 or 8 kilometres now in front of this group that are trying to catch him up and higher. This group with Didier and Bostian, Werner Arman, Thilo, and not far behind Sebastian Carver, Sebastian Nagel and René Vidal. Pretty close together. And just looking at the altitudes and distances to run, Thilo's got just under 4 kilometres to run, and Sebastian at 2,800 metres. René just a little less.
They are going a little low to the turn point, so I'm guessing there are some clouds we are not able to see. It's probably covered with the clouds, or the cumulus base is more or less the altitude they have now, not much more, because if it was in blue, they will have probably climb a lot more to get to the turn point. So if you see they are turning around the ridges, it's probably because of low cloud base.
Yeah, we're now just looking from 10.3 back towards the group coming towards them, and we can see 10.4 off on the right hand side. So Mario's been round the funky time 10.3 and is now heading sort of southwest to 10.4. Sorry, northwest to 10.4.
I think he's been listening to Carlos here. I'm pretty sure that Mario's strategy now, knowing he's in front, will be to go for the big climb. If he can get the big climb and run straight, he's got it in the bag. They're not going to catch him. And he's not going to, he's in a very good position to try to finish the flight off at this point, I think.
Didier now running into the turn point. Looks like he'll be second, followed by Werner Arman. He had a very good race on the first day, came second. He has been quite quiet in the middle of the week. Didier now 2.8 kilometres to run. Werner just a fraction behind. Looking a bit further down the list, it looks like Giorgio and Thomas have got stuck. 6 and 8 kilometres respectively. Further back from that is Gintis and another group behind that at 30 kilometres to run. John Gatfield, Roman and Lucas. So just a quick recap. Long struggle down the first 2 legs, low ridge running, nobody really making a break. Round the bottom turn and then heading north. Not a lot happened until Mario was able to cross the valley and get a very good climb just behind the clubhouse here. And he's been using that extra altitude and that distance he managed to pull out to increase it. Coming further right, climbing when he can. And that's resulted in a 7 or 8 kilometre lead. Going around the turn point now, we believe is Didier, Werner and Thilo, just losing a little bit of coverage in this valley here. I'm just looking to see where Mario climbs. As Carlos was telling us, it's important to know whether he gets the big climb that we're hoping he'll get on the mountain right in the middle of the screen. So it'll be interesting to see him follow this ridge and see if he gets a climb on the top.
Yes, he's probably watching now and seeing a cumulus over this mountain we call McQueen, and but I'm not quite sure he will get the altitude to make 10.3, 4 and 5 on final glide, I mean.
So we just had a question about we ought to put the type of glider they're flying. Do you think actually it matters?
What?
The type of glider that they're flying, do you think it matters?
Well, we haven't seen a big difference. I think with this wing loading being equal for all the pilots, I think it's, I mean, it's only one decision in the race, and then it doesn't matter what glider are you flying.
It's more important to pick the right route,
Absolutely,
climb at the right time.
Yes.
So out in front, Mario, just waiting to see whether he gets the killer climb that we're all looking for. He's certainly heading to the right point. The group behind, around the turn point and following down the valley. This is the Aconcagua Valley. It's the one where it goes up to...
They are just leaving the Aconcagua Valley to the north.
This is the route you go up to the border to cross to Argentina.
Yes.
It's got the fantastic road.
And it's beautiful, beautiful
it
to
is
fly
beautiful,
there.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely beautiful.
And there's a ski resort at the top.
Yes.
So Didier still in second place, being chased down by Werner Arman and Sebastian from Slovenia. 3 Victor Thilo from Germany. And just behind that is Krummel in Victor Mike. Sebastian a little lower and to the left, taking a slightly different route. And Rene in Alpha Tango.
We're talking about the gliders and the sailplanes and the difference it makes. Didier's flying a Ventus 2, and a lot of people before this contest said that the Ventus 2 wasn't competitive. But whenever he's been flying with the other guys, he's been keeping together. He's had a bit of bad luck now and again, and maybe 1 or 2 decisions not so brilliant. But the gliders, the sailplane certainly seems to have been keeping up okay. And the only time we've seen any real difference is on those high-speed runs along the ridge towards the end. And that's predictable because the newer gliders are just slightly finer wings, probably a little bit better at the higher speeds.
Mario thought he'd got the climb, took a turn to the left, didn't work, has come back, still searching. He knows there's something there, and he knows he has to climb.
Yeah.
There's no point pushing on. He's got to find something.
Yes, he has to climb unless he chooses to round to the east between turn point 4 and 5.
Of course, the group behind now are catching him up.
Yes.
And if he can find a climb, he'll have done all the hard work, and they'll come in underneath.
Yes, but I think he decided to go straight to the turn point. Well, there is another thermal here. It might work a local knowledge. It's if you see the ridge on the right, the low ridge on the right, there's usually a thermal there. But I think that's a very local knowledge. So we will see if Rene aims to that thermal. It's a little bit out of the way, maybe too far to the north, but he might take the chance, because if you can make the route directly from turn point 4 to 5, then it will make a big difference. You see what I said from to turn point 5? That's the ridge they are facing.
Oh yes,
after
I can see it now.
4.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can go through that mountain with the altitude. If you are low, I mean.
Yeah, we're just working on another view for you. We think the group behind have stopped to climb. I'll just try and bring that to you as we watch Mario go through the turn point. Yep, it looks like they took a couple of turns. Didier at the top of the pile, Werner Arman pushing on with Thilo just underneath. We're just going to try and see where they're aiming towards. So Benji working really hard.
Yeah.
That's a better view.
This is what I said with my beautiful drawings.
Indeed.
You have two choices here. What Mario did is going to Demoko and the peak you see on the left. But also where they are heading now to the ridge on the right, it's not straight on the way, but there you can climb to probably 3.7 or something. So if it's working and you are able to climb there, they will be able to make it straight from turn point 4 to 10.5.
Yeah, but they need a good climb, and they're only at 2,300 or thereabouts. Interestingly enough, Sebastian Kawa's just dropping behind a little. Sebastian Nagel pushing ahead. Didier, Werner, Thilo.
Okay.
Mario Kissling now through turn point 4. He's at 2,280 meters. So Carlos, he's got a long way to cross this valley, and there's a big wall in front of him.
Yes, and well, this is interesting for us because what you are seeing now is the lee side of the mountain. So it's not usual for us to try to climb on this side because we know the other side, that side is behind this mountain, this chain, is very good. So this will be very interesting for us, the Chilean pilots, to see if he gets to climb in this side of the chain.
And he was saying that the altitude he would need to get over the top of this is 2,800 or 2,600?
It depends on where he chooses to cross. He's going straight to the highest part, as you can see. The ridge you have on the right is lower, and there is a low pass at 1,700 to the right.
It looks like he's cutting right towards that lower area.
And of course, for all you confused Europeans, the north side will have the sun on it, yeah, which always seems a bit odd for the start.
So what I think the locals would do is go 30 degrees more to the right and take the ridge that's been drawn there on the west side, because that's the lowest part to cross. So what Mario is doing now is he's going straight to the highest part of the chain here.
Actually, he's put in a zigzag. I'm not too sure he knows where to go. He's just looking at these ridges and thinking, well, maybe that one will work, and no, maybe I'll go this way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's thinking right now.
So the pilots are all on the same radio frequency, and but they're not encouraged to talk to each other unless there's a safety situation. So he can't even ask for some help as to which way to go.
Absolutely not.
And of course, this is the great, the competitive nature of this competition, is that everybody starts together, everybody makes their own decisions, there's no team flying, no external help, and it's fascinating for us to watch the different decisions that people can make and see how they turn out. So maybe we're seeing them arriving on the other peak now here, Carlos. We'll see how that works out.
So what you are seeing now, we will show you, is that, look,
the McQueen in the
René
middle.
probably, I'm not sure if he was in the front, but they took this group to the area I said they would be able to climb, but actually they didn't find anything. So after this, the choice of Mario was a very good one, because these guys, they took the long way to get to 10.4, and they didn't get the altitude, so they lost some time there, and they will end climbing at the same point Mario tried to climb, and there was nothing. So I think Mario is increasing his distance to the rest of the group.
It looks like Didier and Werner have made a little bit of a break from this group. Didier pushing on now, 2,300 metres, and Werner Arman just behind him. Flying quite slowly, 175 kph. The group behind, we're just trying to bring you a picture of that. They're going around the north side of the McQueen.
And we know that the Espanolas are covered in cloud. There's a lot of cumulus on it at 2,500, but where they're flying now is out in the sunshine, where there should be a little bit more energy. And is there any chance of convergence lines that will form along the edge of where the cumulus will be on the Espanolas?
Well, it's difficult to say for us. We just choose the ridges. So when some pilots they start looking for these energy lines, it's quite new for us. But they will have to find something from here to 10.5. They won't be able to go straight with this altitude. So again, I think we will see different choices going from 10.4 to 5. And I can bet that Rene will, unless he sees the guys in front climbing in a straight line, he will choose the west route because he knows that route. He knows how high he has to get there. Unless these two guys show him a thermal or maybe an energy line route, I think he will choose to go to the west, what is the right-hand side, looking from here.
So Didier and Werner going through the turn point, looking to see where Mario's got to. Looks like he's just coming into the hills, looking for a climb.
And he went through that turning point 200 meters higher, so his route into there was quite a lot better.
Yes, and what you see now, he's climbing in the lee side. The lee side is not good if you are close enough to get the downdraft, but if it's in the sun now, there might be several thermals, and he needs what I said, something like
2,800-ish.
No, I think it's less than that, 2.3 or 2.4, probably, to get through this mountain straight.
Yeah, we're just looking at the goal arrival height, but of course they've got to get across the terrain first.
Yeah,
so
but once they cross this mountain, they are on final glide already.
Okay, so this is it. They've got to get over this this ridge, and once they're over it, they've got enough energy to get home.
Yes.
So Mario just trying to nail that climb. Meanwhile, this must seem like an eternity gliding across this valley.
Yes.
And Didier and Werner are going to arrive a good couple of 100 meters lower than Mario.
Looks like Sebastian's got himself a bit of a problem now, because Whiskey Mike Krummel is with this group, and Sebastian's fallen behind a little way, and he won't want Krummel to be in a group in front of him, because that could put two people between him and his place. So he's got to really work now to catch this up.
Now this is interesting. Rene and the other group have gone through the turn, but Rene's coming back onto the McQueen Ridge, and the others are heading across the valley.
Yeah, so I lost the bet. Yes. You see, this is choosing the typical Chilean flight, going to the ridges. He knows how high he needs to be, but actually, if you see Mario, he's climbing, going straight ahead, and he's almost there. He maybe in one or two more turns he will be able to cross and finish. So I think if the other guys find this thermal, I think Rene will be. Yes, I think so.
This is a good flight from Mario, coming back from what was quite a disappointing day yesterday and the day before. Mario very confident in himself, must have given himself a good talking to, and has managed to get himself out in front. And as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he's home and dry now.
Yes, and I think he's now he's high enough to cross the Cobra Ridge and go straight to the rest of the turn points.
Yeah, from this 10.5, it's almost a straight run home.
And we can see the energies available because John Gatfield and a couple of others are at the end of this ridge up at 2,800 meters. So the energies available. Mario's seen it. Now the question for Mario is, how fine do I need to make my final glide? Can I afford to take more, or shall I push and push and push now?
Well, for these kind of gliders, he has plenty of energy, because what we are seeing is the arrival without the ridge they will have. So they will have the ridge coming back. So I think we will see speed of 180 or more probably most of the time.
So Mario's made it over the ridge. He's just got to go through the turn point. And from turn point 5 down to turn point 6 is 45 kilometers. Pretty much running straight along the ridges.
Yes.
We've got another split going on behind. Just going to bring you the picture there. We have Rene that's gone off to the left. The main group going down the center. And Sebastian Cava taking a route to the right. So that's a big gamble. Can you see any sense in doing that?
Well, yes. Yeah, I think we might have a new winner. Yes, he's going that way, but as there are some thermals on the north side of the ridge, actually the one that Mario took. I think the ones who are heading a little bit to the left, they will be able to cross, and they are taking a more direct route. So I think there will be some places between both Sebastians, maybe enough to have a new winner in the overall.
It's a bit early to say that yet. It's really fascinating for us because we were discussing this morning the task for the day on the last day of this contest, and we saw 2 days when the task was really over about 2/3 of the way or half the way around. Once you were really high and the last 100 kilometers was ridge running, the positions didn't change very much and there wasn't much opportunity. So we chose a task that put very difficult decisions towards the end of the task, so that everybody would have to think hard about how they tackled this turning point, and it would make a difference. And it's proving to be absolutely right. It's becoming a critical moment in the flight in terms of the final placing.
So what will happen now is it will depend on the thermal that Sebastian Nagel is about to take. If it's a good one and it doesn't get him too far from the route to the turn point.
Well, there's a fantastic thermal there with Didier and Werner Armin in Whiskey Golf. They're 2.5, 3 meters now. In fact, I saw a little bit more than that earlier. And if they can get in underneath that, they'll be able to climb high enough to get over the ridge and into the turn point.
Yes, what Sebastian Cava is aiming for is not to climb anymore. So he will take the ridge you are seeing on the right-hand side, and if he gets high enough there, and I think he's getting high enough, he will keep going. He doesn't need any more energy because the rest is ridge only.
Yeah, I just want to have a look at this group climbing and see if we can get a bit more detail. Benji's just bringing us the picture. So we've got Didier and Werner climbing, and the other 3 climbing underneath. Best thermal of the day, 5 meters. Yes, Gary.
Yeah.
Mind you, Krimmel's found another one a little bit earlier. And Echo Juliet joining in.
Mario Reyes area.
Okay.
So one of those is Mario's thermal.
It looks
the climb rate here, it looks terrific for these guys, and there must be a good run after this. If they can just take this over the top, they're going to come shooting home, aren't they? It'll be very interesting now to see if Sebastian Cava manages to run that ridge all the way around to the turning point and run on without stopping. It's looking a little bit unlikely to me. What do you think, Carlos?
Yes, I'm not sure if he will be high enough just to keep going on the ridge, but even if he can, I think this thermal here will make the difference. You see, he's got the ridge right now.
So he might make it round the turn
Yeah,
first, but he'll be lower.
But it was a long way west, so he's making a longer route between turn point 4 and turn point 5. But he's at the ridge right now. He doesn't need any more. He will be turning left here, going to the turn point, and then straight.
Just looking at the
I think
goal
we will
arrival.
I think we will see both Sebastian meeting at the turn point with different altitudes.
Yeah, just looking at the goal arrival height, Didier now well over 550 meters above what's required to get home. And plenty high enough to get over the ridge. Krummel in the bottom of that pile, in good company with Thilo and Sebastian. Didier looks like he might have moved on. We're just going to try and bring you another picture of that group on the left-hand side. And indeed Didier has left, and Werner Arman close behind. Meanwhile, Echo Juliet and Sebastian Nagel still climbing. Not quite sure where Thilo's going to. And off on the right hand side of the screen I can just see that Sebastian Carr has got some good energy as he's running along the ridge there, flying in good lift. Sebastian at 1794 meters, where Sebastian Nagel at 2400 meters.
This won't be good for people with heart problems, because what we will see now is that Sebastian Nagel will meet, most probably they will meet at the turn point, both Sebastian, but Sebastian Nagel will have a lot of more altitude than Sebastian Kawa.
He's got a good climb now, seeing averages of 4 or 5 meters there.
He needs to leave very, very fast. I mean, if he waits too long, it will be too late.
Yeah, he's got to go. He's really got to go now. But he doesn't know where Sebastian Carver is. He doesn't know that he's almost at the turning point, but much lower. But he's got to make a move. He's got to get round that turn. He's got to get back on the ridges. His altitude is only any use if he can convert it into speed.
Just trying to do the sums here that Sebastian Nagel needs to beat Sebastian by 2 places. Yeah. We're just going to give you the final glide, total energy, goal arrival height. Sebastian now at 400 meters, Sebastian Nagel at 190 meters. They've left now, heading towards the turn point. Not quite sure what Thilo was up to. He must have been a lot lower.
And flying pretty fast now. The Whiskey Mike's running in quite fast. If we can look at the turn point bench and see if Carver went through it.
Yeah, but Sebastian Carver is quite low now. Yes, he will need to use the ridge on the left and make a longer route. Sebastian Nagel will be able to, after the turn point, aim a little bit more south and skip a long way to the east that Sebastian will have to take, because he needs the ridges from now on to get to the club.
They might be able to see him now as they go over the top of Sebastian.
Yeah, but he'll be flying in energy. He'll be able to push the energy, so he will be able to gain quite a bit in the fact that he should be in good air all the way, whereas Whiskey Mike's going to have to fly in still air for quite a while before he gets back into the energy level.
Yes, but what I guess Sebastian Nagel is going to do is he's going to make the turn point and then aim a little bit more to the south and skip a longer route. So I think they will join probably on what the area what we call Trucha. This it's the mountain you have on the top left of the screen.
Maybe we need another one of your diagrams, Carlos, to show us the route that they should take back.
Okay.
While you're doing that, I'll just remind you, the reason we're concentrating on this part of the race and not Mario, who's out in front, is that Mario can't do much more in improving his position. He's in third place overall, but Sebastian Nagel is in second place with 37 points, and Sebastian Kawa is in first place with 40 points. So 3 points the difference. And if they can end up with the same number of points,
So
Sebastian Nagel will win on countback.
So what we're seeing now is that Sebastian Cava, he needs to make this route because he needs the energy just to, because they need to go like here. And what I said is that Sebastian Sebastian Nagel, he has the energy to go straight to this area here.
Yeah, a much shorter distance.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is a lot longer.
But
He needs to put at least
Yeah.
two pilots.
that's right. The other part of the equation is who's going to get between them. He's got Bostian with him. That's only one. The other guys are ahead of him. This is tricky. He almost wants. Well, I'm not sure who's going to do it. Rene doesn't look like he hasn't been round the turning point yet, I don't think. So it's looking like he's going to need a friend here somewhere to
Yeah.
get between them.
It could be Gintis in Alfa Romeo. He's just gone through the turn point. We're just looking at the heights there.
No,
Gintis
no,
at
it's not high
just
enough.
under 2,000 metres, which is not high enough.
Not high enough.
What about Tilo and 3 Victor? He's even lower.
No. No. It looks like there will be only one in between the both Sebastians.
It depends, yeah, what happens in front. If one of them gets stuck.
I don't think so because they are. I think they are all in final glide right now. It's just a decision of how fast you go.
It was a ballsy decision for Sebastian Kawa to go out on his own to come round to the right.
Yeah, he decided not to climb again. So after 10.4, he went straight, and he's not climbing anymore. What Sebastian Nagel, he decided to go and have another thermal, and it was quite a good one. So I think that's what we are what we are seeing here. The difference between just going straight a little bit slower, and Sebastian thermal that actually it was very good.
I'm just bringing you another view of Sebastian Nagel with Bostian in Echo Juliet flying together, very similar heights. Sebastian Nagel just a fraction lower.
Actually, Sebastian needs to go in front of Echo Juliet if he wants to have at least one in between and bid for another one.
Yeah, I think Bostian will have something to say about that. I don't think he'll want to hang back just so that Sebastian Kummel can get in front of him.
Maybe he's shouting on the window. Sebastian Nagel, I mean, he's shouting, wait for me, just wait for me a little.
What's interesting here is that Sebastian Kawa at 1,870, 1,880 metres on the left. On the right-hand side is Gintis at a very similar altitude, and they've got roughly the same distance to fly.
Yes, but what you will see here is that Echo Romeo, he needs to jump without ridges. So Sebastian is getting before Alfa Romeo, for sure. Gintas, he needs to make a jump now without ridge, and Sebastian is already at the ridge, and so he can speed up and use the ridge to get before Alfa Romeo.
So Sebastian Kawa is 3 kilometres behind Sebastian Nagel, and there's nobody in between really. Bostian's around there, but it looks like he might actually just be ahead when his data comes back. And Gintas is behind Sebastian Kawa. That's looking like a tricky situation.
So Sebastian Kawa looks like he's safe at the moment, unless something happens in front.
Yeah, I think he will be very happy when he's just behind Sebastian Nagel.
So looking a little further ahead, Mario Kissling now 6 kilometers to run, plenty of altitude. He's got a fairly clear run now, straight through the turn point and then into the finish line. About 12 kilometers behind is Didier, and further half a kilometer back from that is Werner Arman. In fact, they're actually neck and neck. I'm not quite sure what happens with Lucas in Papalima. I think he's not in the same game as these guys. Oscar Bravo there going in the opposite direction is Mark Tingey. Got stuck low down on the first leg and is now quite some distance behind. So on the left hand side of the screen we've got Echo Juliet, that's Bostian from Slovenia, with Krimmel Sebastian Nagel from Germany. And on the right hand side of the screen we have Alfa Romeo, which is Gintis. And the bottom left of the screen we have Sebastian Cava.
I think this would be, if the final positions are the same as now, I think this will be the first podium for Didier in this competition.
Indeed.
Yeah, and he'll be very happy with that. I don't think his expectations were enormous coming with his Ventus 2, but I think he'll be very happy to get a podium position today. And Mario, of course, will be very, very happy.
He's delighted, yeah. And that secures him 3rd place overall. And this is a Class 1 ranking event, I think, Brian, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Category 1 ranking event. There's a lot of points at stake here. And I think Sebastian Nagel will do really well out of this. He'll come up a lot of places. Of course, Sebastian Carr was number 1, so he can only go one way. Yeah, but I think he'll maintain his position.
Yeah, if he wins, yeah. So the distance now between Echo Juliet and Whiskey Mike, 1.4 kilometers. As we see Mark Tingey flying in the opposite direction. And perhaps we can just go back to see Mario going through the checkpoint and the finish line, if we've got enough time. In fact, we think Mario's finished. Sorry we couldn't bring you the finish, but he'll be delighted. Well done, Mario. Just going to make a big circuit of the airfield and land where the white buildings are on the bottom of the screen. We're pretty sure that Lucas has not been round the turn point and is making his way back. So the race is between Didier and Werner Arman. Werner in a 29 and Didier in his Ventus 2. Not much in it. 0.3, 0.4 of a kilometre.
And we can see Sebastian Nagel now and Bostian. They're a couple of 100 yards apart. Maybe it's going to be close there. After these two, there's the pair with Whiskey Golf and Didier there, and then we got another pair just behind.
And that's Bostian and Sebastian Nagel, and they were 1.4 kilometres apart before. But this is going to be really close, and again it'll be about the turn, how they manage to maintain their energy through the turn. Has been a feature of this event. It's not been all about ridge running, but also about how you can maintain the energy in the turn, particularly these 90-degree turns.
You could almost say this is old-time Grand Prix racing with Ventus 2 and ASG 29. But that would be unkind to say that.
As social media now lights up, Matt Cook leaping up and down in his chair, explaining how the Ventus 2 is the best glider in the world.
So here will be interesting this turn and the final turn point, 3K.
We think Lucas hasn't been around the turn point. We'll have to look at the stats, but yeah,
Maybe he's doing one for the crowd.
Can you confirm whether or not he's been round the turn point? We didn't see him earlier on.
But maybe he's doing one for the crowd. There's a lot of people here today watching. The finishes are very exciting, and it could be that he's decided he'll just fit in with everybody else.
Very tight turn.
We had this once before, and it turned out that it had been round the turn, so it could be he did something stunning.
These two now wingtip to wingtip, literally 30 metres apart.
Let's look at the altitude now, the finish altitude, because they are pushing.
850 metres they must maintain, and they're both over it at the moment. Didier pushing really, really hard.
So now we have 837.
Just looking at the side view, 80 kilometres, 80 metres apart, and it looks like Werner Arman might just edge it from Thilo. Werner Arman,
yeah,
we think cross first.
I think he will get a penalty,
but he went low. So it'll.
I think Didier, he chose to keep the altitude, betting for the penalty of Werner.
It's that red mist, Carlos. You're just about to get back, and you're pushing and pushing. You stop looking at the altimeter for a second. But I saw 840 something there, so there's a good chance by looking at that Didier might get the second place.
Yes.
So he'll be pleased with that. So confirmation that Mario Kisling has won this race today. Second and third will depend on penalties between Didier and Werner Arman, and we're now looking at fourth and fifth place. Fourth looks like Bostian from Slovenia and Sebastian Nagel from Germany in fifth, and it all depends on what's going on behind. Whether Sebastian Carva has managed to keep going, and whether or not that, in fact we can see now that Gentes has managed to get in between Sebastian Nagel and Sebastian Carva. But that's only one place, and Sebastian Nagel needs 2 to win the competition. So unless something happens with this group ahead of Sebastian Nagel chasing down Bostian, but Bostian's a fairly steely character. He's not going to give an inch, is he? Or 2.5 centimetres for our friends in Europe. .4 kilometres the distance between them. Looks like Sebastian Nagel has a little bit more altitude, but not enough to catch up that distance. It depends whether Bostian makes a mistake through the turn.
Yeah, and don't forget they must maintain 850 metres all the way between the control point and the finish line. If they go below 850 metres, they get a penalty.
Sebastian now doing a nice wide turn, making sure he's got the turn point, and Sebastian Nagel will try and cut it even finer. Only a kilometre between them now. Has he got the extra speed to catch Bostian in the last 3 kilometres on the run in?
At least he's higher. Look at the altitude. 4.5, 4.3.
Bostian very, very low. Very, very low. So he may end up with penalties.
Wow, that's going to make a difference. If he's down at 840, there could be quite a significant penalty there. We'll hope. We can only tell when we've downloaded the flight recorders. But Whiskey Mike, he needs to cross as soon as he can. He's got height to spare. Keep on pushing there, and he might just make it. Yeah, this is going to come down to another day of penalties to get the position.
Yeah. Penalties for altitude is 2 seconds per metre below the 850. Just trying to count to see how many seconds behind. I think he was 14 seconds behind. So he would need to be 7 metres lower. And this is going to be a nail biter. And Gentes from Lithuania is a kilometre in front of Sebastian Carva, but a lot lower, 120 metres lower. Is that enough for Sebastian Carva to catch him up? They're all nodding here. That looks really good on radio. Just
Yeah, there's no problem for Sebastian Carver now. He can close that 800 meters in no time because he's got 100 meters above Gintas, and unless he thinks he doesn't need to, unless he protects his altitude to get the penalty, but I can't see that
or
somehow.
not to get a penalty.
Yeah, to avoid a penalty. I can't see that. I think we've seen him before. He's already going faster. He's doing 240 kilometers an hour as opposed to 187, 190 with Gintas. He's going to close that gap almost before they go around the control point. In which case, the penalty won't be enough. So if it looks like it's Sebastian Carver is going to be the winner of this contest.
Closing the gap now. It's brought it down from half a kilometre to just 150 metres.
Wow.
He's used up all that energy. The same altitude now.
And now he's going straight.
70 kilometers an hour faster.
But he's also going straight, and Gintas, he had to turn to the left just to round the mountain there.
Which is why he's going so slow.
Yes, and actually he's now in the sink.
On the wrong side of the mountain, and the gap getting bigger
the lee
now.
side, so he's sinking a lot more than Sebastian. Yes.
Yep.
And you can see it in the speed. Well,
Same altitude now, but having turned a half kilometre deficit into
so even with
600
penalties, it
metre
won't be
lead.
enough.
So tell us the story of the race then, Brian.
The great thing about this is we've got such fantastic finishers that it's sometimes difficult to remember quite what happened before. But we missed a chunk of this race, and we're really sorry about that with power outages here and things. But we've seen a fantastic race and a fantastic finish. And we can't wait to do this again. We can't wait to see guys like this racing like this again, and we can watch how it really works in sailplane racing. It's such a fantastic, great sport.
Not far to run now for Sebastian Carver. Just making sure he's not below 850 metres.
Yes.
And another visit to the referee. And just coming up and through the line goes Sebastian Carver. And we believe that he's done enough to win this contest. A very worthy winner. Been flying incredibly consistently all week.
As always.
And Gintas just coming through the finish line there. In Alfa Romeo in 7th place. Tilo 5 kilometres behind, but very low. So looks like Tilo's going to be accepting some penalty points. René Vidal 11 kilometres back. And René at 1,270 metres. That should be enough to get him around the turn point. So what's Tilo going to do? Yeah, flying quite slowly.
And low.
He'll make it to the airfield without too much trouble, but it's just how many penalty points he ends up with and whether that puts him behind René. So we think it's congratulations to Sebastian Carver for winning yet another sailplane Grand Prix, the 8th in the series here in Chile. I think that's 3 now.
Yeah.
It might be 4 actually. Yeah, he's got so many. I don't know how he knows how many he's got. We can't keep count clearly. As Tilo now approaching the airfield, this gives you a great view of probably the narrowest airfield I've ever been to. Behind
this is Chilean way.
A Chilean way. An area of suburbia in Vitacuri and the motorway.
Yeah, I think the weight of the wheel is like 25 centimeters. Why do you need more?
No, how about the wings?
But the wings are not in the ground. Why do you need more?
Yeah. As Tilo goes through, Actually, he's managed to maintain his altitude on the way through here. So no penalties for Thilo. Just slowing down, and he's through the line now. And back with René Vidal. Wingtip on the ridge. He's 1,000 meters, just over. So he'll be able to get through the turn point and make it through. And that will be for 9th place in the final point. So what we've left to do now, we've hoped you've enjoyed the coverage of the Chile Grand Prix. Sorry about the problems we had earlier, but we've got a few thank yous to make before we go. Auto Productions, who are the video company here, they've, whilst struggling with a few of the problems this afternoon, have done a fantastic job of helping us build the highlights videos and bringing you the streaming. Probably the best we've ever seen. We know we can do better, but pretty good so far. I've got to thank everybody at the Club de Planadores, Arturo for organising all the operations here, Alfonso for the fantastic tasks, Roland, our referee, keeping everybody straight, Alex, our eye in the sky, giving us the weather forecasts and what he's been seeing out the window, Mario for his commentary during the week, Brian for coming up with a great race direction, Hankel here from Spain for the data and the tracking. It's been great. Benji working his wizardry with the Silent Wings whilst also doing the Facebook stuff. And not forgetting Claire, who's been doing the Fast and Curious. And last but not least, the missus for doing the interviews and the tweets. And today, of course, joining us is Carlo. Carlos, thank you very much indeed for your insight today. It's been great.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for watching.
And that'll be us signing off from Santiago in Chile. Thank you for watching.